here we go. Should be going live in 3, 2, 4, 2, 1, and do we got a picture? Okay, everybody, this is them on the moon. Okay, here we go. Do we got a picture? Okay, sounding good. So got a couple fun updates this time. I got my Zyn. I'm ready to go. And I'll be honest, I've been severely dialing back on Zyns and coffee because I was really I didn't put this in my update, but I was getting to a point where my nervous system was just throttled and I could just tell. And I was just popping way too many Zyns and drinking way too much coffee. And I'm just like freaking wired constantly. So I've just been dialing it way back, which is painful, honestly. But I do feel better. And just a little more chill, a little irritable, and like there's some like withdrawal symptoms, but all in all, it's okay. But I think I'm gonna try to just keep it on low dosage mode because I was pushing it full throttle too hard and I was just getting burnt in general. Okay, so let's get into our update here. Happy Sunday. So I saw on the internet recently that it said isolation is as bad as 6 alcoholic drinks per day. And I was like, oh shit, because I just live isolated. So sorry. As you can imagine, I went on Perplexity and I'm like, is this true? And it turns out it's not that true. It can be really bad for you, but I think it obviously just depends. Some people do way better, some people don't. It's an individual situation, and I'm very isolated, but I feel for the most part very healthy and happy, and I'm not any less happy or healthy than I am when I'm not isolated. And I see some people here and there, and I don't know how to think of it, but it kind of scared me, but I think it's probably not that true, honestly. The other thing I have in my update is that if you don't know, I've been doing this media cleanse. So basically no social media, no movies, TV, podcasts, anything. I can read books. And then I have these like specific rules about media consumption, which is I can consume one piece of media like podcast, YouTube video, whatever per day, if it's a type of content I pay for. So if I like pay a subscription to a creator, which is pretty much only like 2, Sam Harris and this creator Woni, and then maybe one other, Adam Turley. I think I have his Patreon, so it's like I can watch one a day of that, but they don't even post enough stuff that I could watch one thing a day, and I honestly don't always watch it when it comes out, but I can watch one per day of that if I pay for it, and then I can watch one thing per week that I don't pay for, so I pick a YouTube video or a pod every week that I can watch, and then I can also watch podcasts or interviews of like the author I'm reading the book of. So like I was reading a Seth Godin book recently, so I watched an interview of him on Tim Ferriss. So that's kind of how I've been doing it. But all that aside, I've been slipping recently, and I'm sometimes watching a YouTube video when I shouldn't be watching one. Just gonna admit it. But here's the thing. This slippage has happened before in previous cleanses. So at this point, I'm picking up on a pattern. I'm like, okay, when I get a couple weeks into a cleanse, I start to slip and watch YouTube videos. So I ask myself, why is that? Why am I starting to watch YouTube videos when I know I shouldn't be watching them? And it's basically, I have a guess. The guess is, this is what I wrote in my blog. As success and meaningful progress elude me, my mind looks for a distraction or something to chew on to avoid the tasks and endeavors that aren't yielding any immediate results. YouTube videos, podcasts, and other media have a way of making you feel like you're doing or learning something important, and they stand in for genuine progress or achievement. So that may be a long way of putting it, but I basically think that all the things that I'm working on and doing, it's like a lot of work you put in and you don't see immediate reward. You don't see instant gratification. It's like you're putting in all this work and hoping for good outcomes later. And I think that my mind eventually is like, dude, you need to hit. And I think a lot of times watching YouTubes and pods and stuff like that, it gives you that hit of like, oh, this is like what I need to do, or like, this is the thing, or like, half of it just placates you or like anesthetizes you. The other half gives you kind of that hit. And so I'm just trying to buckle down, double down, just like stop doing it and just focus on what I'm working on, because I have so much cool stuff that I'm working on and I just want to lock in and, excuse me, rip it. So yeah. This is fun. So I talked about the hinge date that I had planned last week. So this is my review I got in WhatsApp. You really know how to date. The experience was 5 stars. 5 of 5 on looks, 5 of 5 on service. Absolutely amazing. Come on, baby. Applause, please. Thank you. Or hold the applause, hold the applause. No, I'm just kidding. But that felt good. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. That felt good. I was like, okay, confidence booster. On that. And there's probably a lot I could say about the date thing. So this was a shorty from China that I met on Hinge, and she was cool. And the first time we hung out, we got along pretty good. And the thing that was interesting is that I probably met people from China, but I've never really like sat down and hung out and talked with someone that just like lives in China. So there was like a lot of interesting conversation, and she works in AI and is kind of a little nerdy. And she went to art school in the US. So we had so much to talk about, and it was really interesting. And we ended up hanging out every day until she had to leave. But the crazy thing is like she came over here to work for part of the day, and she was like on Chinese YouTube or whatever. It's like WeChat's version of YouTube. And I was like, "Can you go on America YouTube?" And she's like, "Nah. Like America is freaking blocked in China. Like it's crazy." And she's like, "You can get a VPN, but it's illegal, but most people just kind of do it anyways." But she was saying how like their WeChat, which is like their iMessage or like WhatsApp or whatever, is like monitored. So if you type VPN in a group chat, like your shit gets shut down. Like they're like on your shit. And it was just interesting talking to her about the differences of China and America and thinking about the differences. And I mean, there's so much I could say. China is so fascinating to me, and I'd love to go. Which kind of brings me to my next point, which is that it's this weird thing when you kind of meet someone and connect with them a bit and like get some time with them, and your relationship would maybe go further or not, but it's like then they just go away kind of forever. It's like she just dipped out back to the islands, and then she right before this texted me, and she was like, what did she say? She's like, "Hey, just landed in Shanghai, wishing you all the best in life, peace," or something like that. And so it's like this thing where it's like this weird like you just kind of it's like a drive-by. It's like, "Hey, what's up, bye, bye." And then I might probably never see her again. I don't know, but just weird situation. Honestly, I'm pretty used to it. It's like my life has been so transient that that's the nature of most of my like relationships and dates and things like that. It's like kind of this temporary thing, but it's interesting. It's just I don't know what to think of it, but that was interesting. But she was cool and it was fun. The next thing is I did the float tank, my first sensory deprivation float, and I was really stoked. But I'll be honest, it was a freaking letdown and it was underwhelming. And I was saying that it's either because I've done so many drugs that like the experience of sensory deprivation is just not that trippy or interesting to me. Or I left the light on in the room because I had like a preconceived notion that the pod completely sealed. So I get in and I was in there for a while. I had an hour-long session, and then I opened my eyes and I noticed the light was leaking into the pod from the room. But I couldn't bring myself to like get out of the pod and turn it off, which I should have just freaking did it, but I didn't want to I was already floating and vibing. So it was just underwhelming. And the other thing is I was absolutely cooked the rest of the day, like zero energy, basically depressed, just roasted. I think because of all the Epsom salts. I think the lady said something about that. Her English wasn't that good and she had a thick accent, so I couldn't make out everything she said. But you know what the funny thing is that on the thing I had to fill out before I floated with all the information, it's like, "Where'd you hear about us?" And it's like Google, TripAdvisor, and then there's like literally a checkbox for Joe Rogan. Like I was just like, that's fucking crazy that dude is like such a. It just oh man, what a crazy platform to have that like you're on the "Where'd you hear about this" thing in Thailand. Like come on, like that is crazy. But funny. Anyways, I might go back. I think it was like in between $30 and $50 for the hour, and I think I might go back and try it pitch black and see if maybe that like takes it up a notch, but I'm not really sure yet. Okay, I'm gonna get into the rest of my updates here. Okay, what I'm working on, what's coming up is my book review of The Practice by Seth Godin. Stoked for that. There's a lot of cool nuggets in there and so much to talk about and think about. I'm getting really close to done with the song, and the music video is done for my song Sunrise. The song's almost done, and I just filmed a walkthrough of the music video of how I made everything and like broke down all the shots and talked about the experience and everything. It's like an hour long that I'm going to put on YouTube of like just in depth. Not sure if anyone will care about that, but it is interesting to me. And then I'm next gonna dive into my Costa Rica vlog and photo journal, which I'm also really excited for because there's tons of cool shit in there, and I haven't even started yet, so that'll be fun. Okay, let's go. What I'm wondering about. So I already talked about this. Isolation is bad for you, or worse for you than alcoholic drinks. Not true. Okay, this is bananas. The massive structure recently found under the pyramid via LiDAR actually real? I don't know if you guys have heard of this. This is fucking crazy, dude. And so I'm not sure about it. I don't know how confirmed it is, but there's a Rogan clip, which I haven't watched yet. I've watched a teeny bit of it, but we're going to watch it together real quick. I think it's like 4 minutes, but this is freaking crazy, dude. Check this out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Talking of pyramids, dude, this new pyramid shit that's just come out.
Oh, this is insane. Yeah, I was going to send this to you as well, Jamie. I'll send you one of the most comprehensive breakdowns of it on X because it's quite stunning. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is because they're just looking at LiDAR images. But whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars. And all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, it's 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then there's additional structures inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's really crazy. There's a guy, Jay Anderson, and he did a breakdown of it. Maybe this would be good. We could play that. Great, please.
It's me watching a podcast, watching a video.
Significant of a discovery this is.
Dun, dun, dun. I love the music. And geometry, so you know it's real.
You got to appreciate the dramatic.
Speed it up.
Project Unity.
What has just been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative-shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography.
Fuck, that's
This
a
was
mouthful.
used to explore the internal
Chiropractor
structure
talk.
of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high-resolution, full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far.
What does your friend think about it?
Which friend?
The one that you said it's bullshit.
Oh, that's not my friend. That's Zawi Hawass.
Okay.
Zawi Hawass is the head of antiquities in Egypt. He's like the head guy that talks to the archaeologists and gives the official narrative. In the past, he's been extremely hostile to Graham Hancock, but Graham Hancock and him have now become friends.
Oh, yes. I
And
know
they're
this guy.
coordinating. Graham is a lovely guy. The people that like are enemies with him just need to get to know him and hang out with him. He's a genuine, real human being who's trying to find the truth.
Okay, anyways, that's crazy. So I'm gonna dig in more to that later. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But that's fucking crazy. So I'm curious if that's real and they start allowing more research and like people digging into that. That's gonna completely turn some shit on its head. That's fucking crazy. Okay, moving on though. I was looking up how does the Shanghai Disney Park compare to Disney World. Disney World's obviously bigger apparently, but that's because there's a bunch of other parks, which I don't really understand how it works because there's like Epcot and like Magic Kingdom and like Animal World and like all these different parks so that make up Disney World. So it's like a bunch of parks, but The Disney park in Shanghai is pretty big. It has the biggest castle, it has the biggest Disney castle, and it has some like other stuff there that it has Zootopia World and some other things that Disney World doesn't have, but Florida's got it in the bag as far as the biggest one. Because I'm always like, damn, what is China got the biggest of? Because it's got some big shit. It's got the longest building, it's got the biggest building, it's got China's fucking crazy. And so I'm just always curious now. But America is still the GOAT, honestly, I gotta say. For now. Okay, the other thing is it true that skin cancer rates have an alarming correlation to the rise of sunscreen use? I saw a video a while ago about this. And here's the thing. There is a correlation from when they started using sunscreen and introducing sunscreen into the market, which is like $1 billion industry or a couple billion. And then skin cancer rates, if you look at the graphs, like they go together. And so I've seen some people being like, what the fuck, right? Because that's suspect. But as I was looking into it, it was saying that a lot of the reason for that could be, it's so funny because you see that, it's like so many things. You see that at first and you think, okay, it's definitely causing skin cancer, right? And I've always thought this about all the chemicals and fucking soaps and lotions and shit and all these chemicals and endocrine disruptors and shit that people sell you to put on your skin. I'm always skeptical of that. I don't fuck with that. But, you know, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely causing cancer. But then when you look into it, the argument against it, the strong argument against it, in my opinion, that I found is that once sunscreen started being sold, it basically lulled people into a false sense of security about being in the sun because it didn't protect against UVA rays, only UVB rays or something at first, or a lot of it doesn't. So that people are just cooking themselves and they're not getting sunburned, but the harmful rays that causes the cancer still just, you know, roasting their shit. And also, if you imagine you put on sunscreen and go out, you maybe didn't get every spot. So you leave a spot and then that's going to get sauced. So it's like, that's the argument against it. I don't know if that's true, but it's just interesting how there's a lot of times when things seem obvious, there's like another way to look at it or another side of the story that's not so obvious that makes a lot of sense. And I always have to remember that because I if I'm being honest, I like an easy answer. I like a clear, easy answer that makes sense and I like to just run with it. So it's good for me to remind myself that you can't always do that. You gotta sometimes think a little deeper. So yeah. Anyways, that's all my perplexity searches for the week. We got Your Brain on Music. This is what I'm reading, Your Brain on Music. I was on the BTS, and there was a girl in front of me reading, and I was like reading over her shoulder, and it was this book, and I was like, oh shit, it was so fascinating, just the little bit I was reading, so I put it on my list, and I started it. And it's really cool. It's like so far up my alley because it's about the science of music in the brain and how music works, what it is, why we like it, how it affects the brain, etc. All this. So it's incredibly fascinating and cool. And I'll just tell you one interesting thing I learned. I'm just getting into it, just the beginning, but apparently your brain has different frequency pitches. Like the different pitches are like mapped into it already. So when you hear a certain pitch, there's a certain part of your brain that lines up every time that pitch goes. And this is interesting because this means that if you were imaging someone's brain and all you could see was the data of the brain image, and then someone was playing pitches to that person, you could tell what notes they were hearing just by the way their brain's lighting up. You can see which notes because there's actual maps to the parts of their brain with pitches. And apparently there isn't for harmonic connections and stuff like that, but that's not even the case with color. So if you show someone a color, it's not that, it's like the colors aren't mapped the same way where if you're looking at a brain image, you know what color someone's getting shown, right? So pitch and sound has like these really deep rooted natural effects on our brains and like places in our brains. And I'm like, man, that's so interesting. And it makes so much sense why music is such a huge thing in the world when you think of it like that. But there's all kinds of other cool science about music and what makes sounds sound the way they sound and different than other sounds. And it's just really cool. So I'm loving it and super cool so far. Next thing, what I'm watching, which this was a slip. I saw this thumbnail and I was like, I just want to freaking watch it. So I watched it. It's a Diary of a CEO. and it's an economics debate, and you basically gotta tax the rich guy and you gotta free markets guy. And it's very interesting because this, man, it just really is crazy. But this tax the rich guy, he was the biggest, most successful trader for Citibank, and he made him like 30 million in a year or something. He was like their top trader because he realized what was happening in the economy, which is that the rich people were just getting richer and richer and just sucking all the money out of the middle class. And simply put, his philosophy is like, when you get rich and you have a bunch of money, you own assets, right? And then if middle class or poor people want assets, they have to borrow the money from you, but then you just end up making more money. So all the money just shifts to the rich people, like that's in the economy, right? And then the richer the people get, the more assets they have and the more money they make and the more money that goes to the rich people. So, and like, it's this thing during COVID too, which I never thought of, because he's like, think of when they put the stimulus out and they give everyone a bunch of money. He's like, where did that money go? He's like, think about where that money went. It just went to people to pay their fucking bills, which the bills are getting paid to the rich people that own the companies, right? It's getting paid to the stores. It's getting paid to the landlords and the rent and everything. And literally the government just printed a bunch of money and basically gave it to regular people to just give to the rich people. So it's this crazy thing that's happening. The other side of the argument, which is the free market guy, he's like, if you look at the an index of economic freedom, where you see, okay, what countries have the most economic freedom for people? Like, what people have the most economic freedom, which just means they can buy the shit they need, they can buy extra shit, they have financial mobility, right? They're not just ends meet. And what you find is that those places have the least amount of regulations and not crazy taxes, and it's way more less regulation and free market, way more free market and less government intervention and regulation. And those places are the most financially free, and have the most economic mobility and whatnot. That was his argument. But it's really complex. Obviously, economics are complex. Money is complex. I don't know what to think of it, but it really, to me, painted a picture like the pitchforks are coming. Like, things are getting shitty. For your middle class is just going to get poorer, and the rich people are getting richer. And we know how that goes. We've seen it happen before. It's not really good. So I don't know what'll happen. I have this thought that AI and the rise of technology will change things, right? So I think both of them might be a little wrong, where it's like, if AI and technology make it so that people can get what they need basically for free, so food production, healthcare, like, in Elysium, there's like those like beds, you like lay on the bed and it just scans you and figure out what's wrong with you and then fixes it, right? That's a oversimplification. But imagine if healthcare, because of technology, becomes so fucking cheap that just you don't need money to get it. You just get taken care of and we can do it easily and we can do everything we need. People aren't going to be that dissatisfied if they can get food, they can feed their families, they can get taken care of when they have medical issues, they can live, there's houses for them, etc. But that creates a meaning crisis. It's like the thing, I forget the dude who runs the World Economic Forum, but he said this creepy thing where he was like, people will own nothing and be happy, which is where we're headed. But I don't know I'm not so naive to think that I know what's going to happen, but it's really interesting and I'm holding my breath. I'll say that. And I'm buying Bitcoin, baby, stacking the Bitcoin, baby. Let's go. But yeah, it's really interesting. This guy, Gary's economics, I think he's kind of newer on the scene. He's really popping off right now with his book and everything, and he's making waves. So be curious to see what happens with that guy. What I'm listening to, new John Bellion just dropped with a sick music video, baby. This Wash, man, he's such a vibe. He's such a one-on-one artist who just freaking vibes. He's got his own special vibe. He's so sick. He's just freaking sick. And he's one of the coolest artists alive, and I think ever. And I'm not in love with the song, but I definitely like it. I'll definitely vibe with it. And I'm just in awe of his artistry and what he does. It's so pure and dope, and I just love it. John Bellion, the GOAT, dog. I like his song before this more though, just personally. But okay, photo dump. Here we go. This is China homegirl in the pool. We went to the art museum. This is funny. I put most boobs I've ever seen in one painting. because there's all these like girls right here. It's this boob city. It's fucking crazy. It's so funny to me. And I'm like, they're all the exact same size and shape is what I realized. Astute observation by me. This is me and Salvador Dali. I think that's Salvador Dali doing a portrait. It's like a cool little art installation in the museum. Dude, here we go. This is called Ping Yang. This is like Korean barbecue type of thing, buffet. And I've been wanting to try it. So Gig and I went today. And dude, it was fucking sick, dude. So you pay, I think we paid 500 baht. I think it ended up being $30 or $35 total for both of us. But there's basically levels to the menu. So like as you pay more, you get access to more things you can order, which you just order on your phone, all you can eat as much as you want. And so we got like, I don't know, platinum or not platinum. We got like gold or something. But anyways, you can just run it up, dude. And they just bring you all these different meats and pork with sauces. And I was just running gyoza and fried rice and pork and chicken and these like, dude, these freaking mushrooms, these big giant strips of mushrooms that you fry on the thing. You just fry it, cook it right there. It was so good, dude. I was like, oh my God. And I was getting chicken wings and I was getting, she was getting squids and all kinds of weird shit. And we were getting cheese fondue. You melt the cheese fondue on there, dip the cheese. And then I got like ice cream and marshmallows and roasted the marshmallows and chocolate and dipped in the chocolate and put it in the ice cream and shit. Oh, dude, it was so good, dude. I was like, man, I can't believe I just discovered this time because I was like, dude, this is fire, dude. It was so good. I was just like, God damn. Love it. Love it. I was so happy in heaven. Look at me. So happy. Okay. Dragon fruit acquired. Got some dragon fruits at the store, and I've been eating those because the acupuncture lady told me it cools me down. So the ones with the white on the inside, you got me. And so I've been eating those. We went to the aquarium. Gig and I went to the aquarium, and this is the eel. Geeking, dude. These dudes were crazy. And the aquarium was sweet. They had sharks and they had all kinds of cool shit. Look at this shark, dude. This thing is crazy. This caption is hilarious. I put, God on day 5 be like, yo, imagine if we take one of those shark things I just made and put a chainsaw on the front. Cause that's what it is. Look, it literally has a chainsaw on its face. What is that? It's just crazy. Here's Gig at the aquarium and vibing. And then this is me. Look at my jawline. I was just on a call. It's looking pretty good right now too, but I was like, man, that shit looks fire. I was like, how do I get it to look like that all the time? Oh, and actually, there's a picture I'm realizing right now I forgot to put on there. Let me see if I can find this. I might have not. I got to add this before I send this blog out. I didn't. Okay, I got to get it off my phone. Okay, so I can't show you, but here's the thing. It's another Hinge chat. And I was like, this girl was like, I was like, have you been to Bangkok before? Because she was here. And then I was like, what did I say? She's like, no, first time. If you have any recommendations, let me know of anything that's dope. And I was like, when I first messaged her, I was like, hey, your smile is nice smile or something like that. Smile going crazy or something. Anyway, so she's like, any recommendations for Bangkok? And I was like, oh yeah, there's this dude here, Danny. He likes your smile, and you should totally let him take you to dinner. It'd be sweet or something like that, or like you'd have a great time or something like that. Ha. And she's like, oh, hi, nice, Bill. And I was like, got him. Who knows? I don't think that's gonna go through, but it's just funny. I literally just like trying to do good pickup lines or like be funny or like I don't know. I'm a nerd. Okay. That's everything. Yeah, I'm actually really liking doing these update lives and doing these videos. Also, I'll mention here at the end, there is a link here. If you click this link, you can book a video call with me. Oh, here, show you. Boop, right here at the end. Anytime. It's like 30 minutes. You can just pick a time and chat with me about any of these topics or say what's up or anything. It's just a way for me to connect with people and have conversations or whatever. So if you want it, do it. Oh, the other thing, I canceled my dinner with strangers to hang out with the chick from China. And then I didn't schedule it again this week because I'm honestly feel like I'm so behind on all my work and I'm kind of drowning and it's really causing me a lot of stress. And I feel like I spend money when I go to the dinner, and I get really stressed. And I'm like, I think it would be better for me to just focus on work and get shit done than to go to the dinner and be around more people, because I just want to get shit done. And I feel like it's more painful for me to feel like I have this massive burden of work and shit I need to get done. That's way worse for me mentally than like being isolated or not being around people. So I think I'm going to see how much I can get done and maybe do it the next week. But this week, I think I'm just going to not do it. That's that. That's everything. I think I'm going to go hit the steam room, baby. But thanks for watching. And if you read this, thanks for reading. So the thing is, if you don't get my emails and you want to, it's dannyswade.substack.com. There's a link right in the description, and it's free. You just put in your email and you'll get my updates and my posts when I do them in your inbox. And since I don't do social media, that's the best way to keep up with me. You can also go to dannyswade.com. I have a merch store with my necklaces, and I've got hoodies and hats and all kinds of butterfly stuff. And then also check out my music on Spotify, Danny Swade. I got a bunch of new stuff coming, and like and subscribe, baby. That's what it is. We'll see you next week. Peace.